Okay, Pangyo, we're going to talk about reflection and rebuilding values. So we're going to talk about how we can think about avoiding craving-induced cues and really concrete, specific ways to optimize success during the dopamine fast. So let's dive right in. This is really for you, exercises for you. So number one, anticipating that we will experience craving, that the craving will be really bad in the first 10 to 14 days. Craving can manifest in all kinds of ways. So craving can enter into, I want to use my drug, as simple as that. Just like, I really want to read a romance novel. I really want to, mindlessly scroll on digital media. I really want to have a drink. I really want to have a smoke. It can come in just that simple form. But craving is tricky because it can also manifest as like these complex justifications or rationalizations for why I really should use, even though I committed to not using. And it can be something like, well, I deserve this, or this dopamine fast is really stupid and it's not working anyway, or I've had a really bad day and anybody would use in these circumstances. So all kinds of like complex narratives that our brain is going to manufacture on its own spontaneously because our brain doesn't like the process of withdrawal and it's going to try to get us to use. So you really have to anticipate craving in all its various forms, and you have to counter those voices of cravings. So I want you to think about your specific drug and what you anticipate, or if you're already doing the dopamine fast, what you experience in terms of the way that your brain tries to trick you into using again, even though you really committed as a personal goal that you wanted to abstain for 30 days. And then in reaction to those voices of craving, I want you to think about counter narratives to remind yourself, right? Why abstaining was important to you, why you decided it was important enough that you wanted to sign up for this course. You wanted to, pay the money to do the course, that you wanted to take your live time to do the course. And, counter narratives can just be things like, I really don't want to spend this much time. It's the opportunity cost, right? Like there's so many other things I'd rather be doing than doing my drug of choice. Or maybe it's like, wow, when I do my drug of choice, I really go against my values and goals, and I don't want to do that anymore. So kind of really try to come up with a list of why this goal of abstinence is important for you. And you might even write it down on a piece of paper and carry it around in your wallet, or stick it up next to your computer or on your refrigerator. Some way to sort of visually remind yourself to counteract those voices of craving. The other really important piece of this that can really help is to find an accountability buddy. That is somebody else that you can tell, hey, I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to try to change this behavior. And I want you to know about it, right? Because I feel like I just need somebody in my corner, somebody I can turn to. Make sure it's someone that you trust, someone who will keep your confidence and who has your back. Maybe it's even somebody who wants to do the dopamine fast with you. That would be so wonderful, right? It's so much easier to do these things when we do them together with others, especially if they're people that we see a lot or that we're living with, right? Maybe you could even do it as a whole family. Maybe the whole family could give up a certain type of digital media or a digital media habit for a period of 30 days and do an alternative activity and really reflect on, well, how was that? So there's no judgment, there's no shame. There's just like, yeah, what was good about that? And we'll talk about later sort of the pros and cons list, but definitely think about somebody you could share with. Also be aware that there are already a lot of existing groups out there that are called mutual help groups or self-help groups, where people with a common goal around abstinence come together to support each other. The classic example is Alcoholics Anonymous, but there are offshoot groups of Alcoholics Anonymous for almost every behavior you can imagine, from problems with overconsumption of digital media, to problems with love and sex addiction, to problems with gambling addiction, overspending, food, you name it, those groups are out there. So don't be shy. They're called anonymous for a reason, and they can be super, super helpful. And then finally, I want you to take a little bit of time to write a note to your future self. And this is sort of similar to countering the voices of craving, but this is where I want you to, imagine yourself in the future, as somebody who is going to try to do the dopamine fast and who's going to stop using, and really like imagine what you want for your future self, right? What you want for a version of your life that you really aspire to and hope to, and really visualize that and imagine it, and write a note to your future self, about sort of what you're struggling with now and what you hope for the future, and how you're going to bridge the gap between those two. Great.